All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Graham Murphy, Chair of the 34th Democrats. Thank you for joining us for our pre-meeting program this month. We celebrate Earth Day, and I'm pleased to have a pre-meeting program that really lifts up a local organization empowering youth to create a more sustainable future. I'm going to turn things over quickly right now to our first Vice Chair, Rachel Glass, because we have multiple guests to lead our programming this evening.
Thank you, Graham. I am so excited to have everybody here and to just welcome you to this pre-program that's going to be putting forward our Earth Day advocacy and all kinds of wonderful things. So I will introduce to you Peter Donaldson. He is a strategic storyteller with over 35 years of experience in performing arts, public speaking, curriculum design, and community facilitation. He's the Director of Learning for Sustainability Ambassadors. That's the group that's here tonight, coaching student leaders, teacher leaders, and community leaders on how to advance collective impact strategies, design problem-based learning curriculum, and support sustainable systems thinking at the intersection between classroom learning and community goals, especially city and county climate action plans. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm 34th Dems welcome to Peter Donaldson and his youth ambassadors.
Hi, digital clapping and shouting and finger clicking. Happy to be here, especially with my next generation colleagues, because we're part of the movement. So here's the goals for tonight. We have a agenda for us. It's a facilitator's agenda, and there's a bunch of links on there that might be useful as we go along. So that's idea number one, is links are us to some of the resources we'll be touching on as we share the logic behind our program. The second rule is you can interrupt whenever you want, because you might just be burning with like an idea or a question, and so it happens. And I want to show you that document now before we kick it off with Aria. So I'm going to screen share because I can.
Peter,
yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but if folks do have questions, we can take questions during the presentation, as well as just carving out a few moments at the end, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how filled your presentation is. But folks, if you could please do your hand raise if you have a question, just so that we don't have people talking over each other. And it'll just be easy for us to maybe break in and alert our speakers to a question. So thank you for using your hands up motif on your Zoom.
That's great. So I wanted to show you this document, and then we'll put it in the chat for everybody too. Sophia, maybe you could take a moment to do that for us. But the goals for tonight, what we'd like to share is pretty interactive. We want to all together understand how our mission-driven programs empower youth to lead. You'll witness that and hear about it. Second is, we want to understand how your mission-driven advocacy empowers your membership to lead. And then plenty of time, we hope, for what could we do together. So this is how we imagined breaking up the evening. And so if some of this happens, what can we do together in real time with the digital hand raise? That's cool. We also encourage you to open this link now, and there may be some things that you want to jot down. There may be questions right here, but there also may be ideas like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? So this is a place to gather collective ideas, big ideas, small ideas, and ideas in between. For example, we could put right here, join SA mailing list. SA, that's us, Sustainability Ambassadors. That might be an action. But we also might look at a more programmatic action that we could do together, either during a legislative session or after, such as let's meet a legislator. So ideas may come there with physical actions or strategic actions. I am going to turn it over. I'm going to stop screen sharing here and turn it over to Arya.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for having us here this evening. I'm currently a junior at Redmond High School, and I've been working with Sustainability Ambassadors since the fall of 2019, so about 4 years. And something that I love about this program is the real world connection that it provides. And so learning about photosynthesis and carbon emissions in a school classroom is amazing. However, the professional training that Sustainability Ambassadors has provided me in policy analysis, performance assessment, project management, and public speaking has really inspired me to lead a campaign to assess the solar potential of hundreds of homes, which I'll talk about later, and has also motivated me to encourage my peers to do the same.
Arya, can you go to slideshow? Show us the full. Up in the top there, click on slideshow. There you go.
For some reason, I think it's not staying in slideshow.
Oh, maybe you can't advance in slideshow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Give it a try. Either way is okay.
Okay. All right, so all our programs and projects are based on what we call to be the sustainable systems sandwich. And so the top part of this is the climate change. It's the umbrella problem that we are working to solve. Next, what you have is your sustainable systems. And that's the work that we work on as a part of Sustainability Ambassadors. And you see here we've got some lettuce, tomatoes, and chicken, and all of which are, of course, sustainably raised. And they represent the water system, the food system, the building system, the energy system, transportation system, and the materials system. And our work with all of these systems has to be grounded in a commitment to the environment, the growth of the economy, and equity, which makes the bottom part of the sandwich and keeps it from falling apart. It's also the triple bottom line. And here we have the systems and the triple bottom line at the end. And that keeps all of our work from falling apart as we work to metabolize and move forth with the work that we do as Sustainability Ambassadors. Now passing it on to Peter.
Next slide, if you would. The way we organize our work is very, very local. We actually haven't done much work at the state level, except for some of our coaches have helped us do advocacy through paying attention to the environmental coalition's priorities. So the way we do organize at the city and county level is through climate action plans. So CAP, Climate Action Plan, that's the climate crisis meets climate solutions. And we think that that happens at multiple levels. It's not really a metaphor, it's actually true. If a climate action plan for a city was a collection of policies that's voted on by city council and then enacted by staff with measurable benchmarks along the way, that also really happens at the personal level. So this list we have on the left-hand side of the slide, each of us in this room has a personal climate action plan. You decide to compost food, you decide to recycle, maybe you have an electric car or a hybrid. Maybe you would love to have solar panels, or you already do. Maybe you turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth. Small and large actions are a choice. It's a policy framework. So at the personal level, we can inspire students that you have a climate action plan. At the household level, we can engage siblings and parents in a household climate action plan that you're part of the work. The classroom, I'll show you later some really cool stuff that we're starting to work out to help classroom teachers organize either a unit or a quarter or a whole year thematically with all the academic rigor they need to teach. We can also have that filtered through the lens of a classroom climate action plan. So the learning that you're doing is not an abstraction, it's real. we could generate that at a school level, school climate action plan or a school district climate action plan. And then the real legal document is the city climate action plan. So back to you, Arya, did you want to reference the Lake Washington school board letter? After your solar piece? Before?
Here's where the letter is. And so the story behind this letter is that some of us from the Lake Washington School District wrote a letter to encourage the school board to adopt a comprehensive sustainability policy. And in the letter, we first started out by showing why we care about sustainability and why our school district has to set an example for other school districts around Washington. So we started out with that, and then Sustainability Ambassadors has developed a lot of tools to help with the fossil phase out process. And so we showed that. So we showed our alignment tables, which have a lot of the resources that the school district can use. And then we provided some information about the Fellows program also, which works with teachers to incorporate a living textbook into the academic standards. And then at the end of the letter, we had signatures from the entirety of our team from the Lake Washington School District. And then moreover, we had over 100 signatures from our friends and supporters. And as I scroll down, you can just see how many people signed it. And that was really helpful in showing the amount of support we had for this sort of an initiative in our school district. So that's over 100 signatures right there.
I think 200. I think we got to 200. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pages and pages. That made a difference. The school board was listening to their constituents who can't vote. Carla, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, just really quick. When you guys share, especially the documents, can you make them like 125 or 150%? It'll just be a little bit easier for folks to see what you've got there.
We will.
Perfect. Looks great. Thank you.
Yeah. Everyone take that into consideration, please. Just first step. Something bizarre too. Go back to the slides, Arya, and we got another comment in the chat that some people couldn't see the words on the slide. That doesn't make sense to me. Anybody want to speak up? Is that still a problem, or everyone can see the words on the slide?
I can see the words. They're
Okay.
visible.
Okay, good enough. All right, let's go to Sophia. Can you take charge of the screen and make it a little bit larger and talk about the way in which we empower students to drive impact? Because it really isn't a club, it's not a classroom. We have 50 students. You're seeing 4 in the room right now, but there's 50 students from middle school to graduate school. And they're supported in being project managers. And in order to be a project manager around Climate Action Plan, you really need to have some tools and templates, guides and examples. Sophia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia, and I'm a student at the University of Washington. I'm a second-year student in environmental health, so it relates pretty closely to what we're talking about today and what I've been doing at Sustainability Ambassadors. I joined Sustainability Ambassadors about 4 or 5 years ago when I was a sophomore in high school. So it's been a while, and I've learned a lot through this organization. And now it's not just something that I did in high school, but a paying job and something I continue to do. And it relates really closely to my career goals. So I find it super exciting to be here and really exciting to talk to you all about the work that I've been doing, not only for the past few months in preparation for this, but for the past few years. And just watching it all come together and build on itself is really exciting for me. So Peter talked a little bit earlier about individual action and how whether you're just someone in your household who is turning off the water when you brush your teeth, or if you're someone who's launching a larger campaign and getting your school district involved in sustainability, there's a difference, and there's a difference in how we can encourage people to take those actions. So you'll find this on our website, sustainabilityambassadors.org. Under impact, if you go to impact projects, you'll find the framework for how we organize these types of actions and inspire and motivate people to make a difference. So IP3 strategy, how does it work? Well, we have 3 key elements to making change and sharing sustainability across our region. Impact design. So we have a series of templates, and the first step is designing your project. It's looking at what it takes to manage a project, which is really exciting as students to think about, hey, how can I take some accountability, but also do something I know is going to work? And that's why we have templates available. Number two, impact tracking. That's looking at the data, seeing if you actually made an impact, because of course it's important to talk about sustainability, but it's a different thing to see what you're doing and really assess the impact of your actions. Then there's impact storytelling. So you have data, but people need to know. You need to find a way to communicate how you did what you did and make sure it makes sense to other people so they can do similar things. So we have a giant collection of these impact project templates, and they're all really exciting. Let me show one quickly, then I'll go through the rest of them and just let you see all the categories. They're all 3 pages long. They have an impact design section where students design the project. They have, after this, impact data tracking and an impact storytelling section. So if someone wants to do an impact project, they click on the Get the Template off button, and they're given an example of a project that a student has already done or one that we have designed as an example. And the system is already there. There's information about how to do the project, what steps you can take, how to track your data, examples for storytelling methods, and there's all sorts of categories that a student can choose from if they're interested in doing an impact project. Saving water is one of them. Water conservation is super important and really easy to do in the home. Trees are cool. That's looking at trees in your neighborhood. I think this one's really fun. Stormwater solutions, like what do you do when water comes down and how do you make sure it stays clean going into our stormwater systems? Wastewater, making sure you flush the right things. We have bikes, we have clean energy future, we have smart transportation, zero waste, and food systems. So as you can see, there's a lot happening on this webpage and a lot happening in each individual template. So let's say I'm a student who's interested in saving water and I'm really curious about shorter shower data stories. I'll click Get the Template, and that's where you see this template that has information that students can keep in the template and information that can swap out for what makes the most sense for what they're doing. So community alignment, that's going to be different depending on who you are and where you live. So students have all of this at their hands just right in this document. They can make a copy of it and adapt it to fit their own needs. We have data calculations, and students are picking it up. They're really doing the work and they're really excited about it. Impact storytelling, there's lots of ways to share your story once you've done it. And a lot of people, I think people get to the point of they do something and they're excited about it, but they don't necessarily tell people in the ways that you can be telling people. And that's a big part of our strategy, just getting the word out and getting other people involved as much as possible. So what does it look like? We have the template. We also have 2 examples. Aditi's example is really exciting. She has some information that looks a little bit different from the template. She structured this to make it look like an infographic, and it's beautiful to look at. I love just looking at this document and seeing the graphs and the data, and it's all structured in this really clean and precise way that makes you see like, oh yeah, she's saving 2,000 gallons of water per year by just cutting down her shower time by a little bit. And that's really motivating. I think if I saw that, I'd be like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Like, you save time, you save money, you save water. Annual totals, information here. And I think she did a really good job with telling her story with the way that made the most sense to her. So that's impact projects. Impact projects are really simple, easy actions that anyone can jump into right away. It's easy to track, it's easy to do, and it's easy to share. We also have on the section of our website, impact campaigns. Now, I did one of these, so I know firsthand what it's like to take an impact project to an impact campaign. It's really about the scale. There's individual impact projects and larger impact campaigns that involve a wider range of people and get others involved in your project on that bigger scale that we like to look at. So, impact campaigns. I did one on water footprints where I looked at, hey, how can we calculate people's water footprints? How can we make this a challenge where we're having students compete against teachers or teachers compete against city staff members? And this is the way that every impact project can expand into something that's larger than just an individual action through impact campaigns. I'd like to pass it along to Arya, who's going to talk about our Solar Neighborhood Challenge impact campaign, where we took a small project that was going to just have pretty individual impact and looked at how we could scale it up and bring it to a wider range of community members.
All right, so leaving off of where Sophia ended, here's the webpage that talks about the impact campaigns. And the one that I'll be talking about today is Project PV Watts, assessing solar potential in my neighborhood. So you go to the website, as Sophia said, and then you click on this one right over here to pull up Project PV Watts. So our problem statement for this project is, how can I raise awareness of solar potential in my neighborhood and encourage my neighbors to solarize? So first we start off with the impact statement.
All right, make it quite a bit bigger. Thank you.
So first we start out with the impact statement that talks about how the work that we are going to achieve is going to impact our overall goal of combating climate change. And so we have a couple of paragraphs here that illustrates that. And then going forward, we have some background knowledge that helps us understand more about solar energy and why it should be used in Washington state, so that when we reach out to our stakeholders, we know exactly why they need to invest in solar and can use that information to encourage them to do so. And then we always try to align our work with our community plans and goals. And so the K4C is one that we've worked closely with, along with some other ones that are linked down here. So the first part of this project was using the PV Watts calculator, and I'll show you a little bit about how the PV Watts calculator works. So first you figure out how many households are in your neighborhood. And if you have a large neighborhood, you can split it up into sections of 15 to 20 households. And then you figure out, so you use the reference table listed here to figure out the approximate solar array size for each home in the neighborhood. And you take that information, which is in kilowatts, and you put it into the calculator. So the way this calculator works is you put in your home address to begin with, and then you put in your system information. So the system information is mostly filled out for you after you put in your home address. The only things that you have to change are the array type, which is the roof mount, and then the size in kilowatts. So after that, you get the results, which is pretty cool. And so for my house, it was about 4,000 kilowatt hours per year. And so you take that information, and we use another calculator to calculate this information in terms of the in terms of the number of metric tons of CO2 saved per year that we put into a spreadsheet over here. So spreadsheets like these have each of the addresses of each of the homes that we assess. It has the total system output. And so the thing with the system output is that it's hard for someone to understand who hasn't had experience with solar energy. And so we try to convert that into a metric that they can understand. And so for most people, that is the amount of tons of CO2 that you're saving. And so we use a calculator to calculate that, which is listed over here. And then we can also calculate the number of passenger cars that are taken off the road, which is easy for homeowners to understand. And we also calculate it in terms of the number of tree seedlings that are grown over 10 years. And so we have charts like these for every single home. And so taking the information from these charts, we look at which neighborhoods have the most system output and which ones have the least. And we put them onto a software called Mapbox. And so this shows a couple of the neighborhoods in Kirkland. Each of these polygons represents one neighborhood, and the lighter colored polygons are the ones with lower solar potential, and the other ones have a higher solar potential. And so when we highlight it like this, it helps our stakeholders see which neighborhoods have the most potential for solar, encouraging them to invest in solar energy. And then this past year, we were invited to present at the Washington State Solar Conference, and that was super inspiring for us because we were the only like high schoolers present because all the other presenters were like 30 years old or above. And so when we were presenting there, it was super inspiring for us, and we were able to connect with a lot of CEOs and sales managers. And from that experience, we have started to make a solar internship to promote the solar industry and encourage more high schoolers to pursue that path in their future.
Sweet, thanks. There's kind of a buzz starting in the chat too. Keep it up. We're talking to kindred spirits, couple different generations in the room, and that's good. So the chat's a good place to let that happen. Okay, students, we will probably have to speed things up. So say the essence, give us your highlights. Kylie, are you next with another example of a campaign in motion, right?
Yes, I am
briefly.
next. My name is Kylie Schulman. I am a sophomore at Newport High School, and I'm going to tell you all a little bit about the TOLD campaign. The TOLD campaign, which should be here. Okay. The TOLD campaign was created by another ambassador on the Bellevue team named William, and currently we're trying to get the Bellevue School District to have a turn off the lights day. So basically what this entails is that in classrooms where it's not essential, teachers will just turn off the lights, and it's a really fun day where students get to go to school when lights are off, and it also is just helping the environment. The TOLD day really helps with our carbon footprint and our energy usage in schools, since schools are such an easy target of energy use. And William has been drafting emails with me and the rest of the Bellevue team to make sure that the district and ASBs are learning about this TOLD campaign. Currently, I've been emailing my principal about the TOLD campaign. I already got the campaign passed through my school's ASB, but a big part of the TOLD campaign is about teacher cooperation so that they will turn off the lights in their classrooms and make this day a reality. Bellevue already did this day, and they had it passed through principal, teacher, ASB, which William is a part of in his school. And they had, they saved about 225 kilowatts overall, which is an amazing amount if this became an annual event at our schools. So currently we are trying to get the entire Bellevue School District and eventually other school districts to participate in this day. Currently, my school is trying to have it be on a Friday, which will be really fun to have like an end of the week TOLD celebration. And overall, we're just trying to increase our outreach to have this day become a reality. Sophia, do you want to share on the Ditch the Drive Day that we're also trying to implement in the district?
Give us the highlights, Sophia, because this is in motion also.
Yeah, we're planning on having a Ditch the Drive Day. We have a spreadsheet for it. Just know that it exists. We can go quick and just talk about it. Basically, it's just looking at how people commute to school and doing a bit of an audit on that, and then calculating, hey, based on how many people are in your car, if you're carpooling or if you're walking, what do we know and what can we do about it? Yeah, so here's what it could look like. Here's an example where you mark your mode of transportation, how many miles it is to school, people in your vehicle, and we haven't collected data yet, and that's what we're planning to do moving forward with this idea.
Kylie, are you screen sharing still? Can you click on that link in the agenda that's the City of Bellevue's Environmental Stewardship Plan? Without over explaining it, I just wanted to highlight how this student individual action, classroom and club action, school-wide, district-wide action. The point for everyone in the room here is that it needs to build up to directly point to measurable alignment with the city's climate action plan. In Bellevue, it's called the Environmental Stewardship Plan. And so students get pretty skilled, ours for sure, at identifying if we're doing an energy thing or a transportation thing. It's one of the sections of the climate action plan. And we are part of those numbers. That's very motivating. I think it's kind of where advocacy begins through, I made a difference. I see the civic process. I'm part of participatory democracy. There's a plan, and it's not the city's going to do it for me. I'm needed by the city. So I wanted to connect the dots because I heard in the chat that the mayor of Burien is in the room tonight. I'm really excited about that. And a couple other folks from City of Seattle. Did I get that right? Maybe some candidates or some city council members.
City council candidates, city council current serving right now. Yes.
Go Dems. Fantastic. Hey, Sarah, now that you know who's in the room and you know that we can always scale from this individual impact to the club or classroom impact to the school, whether we're writing letters to the school board to say, let's make this a comprehensive policy. So we're not just patting kids on the head saying, nice work, nice impact project, gold star. We want systems to change. We want policies to change. We want to link that to a climate action plan in a city. And we need to shout that story out. Sarah, you've come on just recently. You were an intern with us. I'm going to tell this part of the story because you were an intern with us from the University of Washington. As soon as she quit, we hired her. Say, keep doing that. Keep doing that. So what does Sarah do?
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Sarah. Like Peter said, I am a student at the University of Washington. I am in my final year of the Environmental Studies program. I joined Sustainability Ambassadors as an intern, not only unpaid intern, but I was actually paying the University of Washington to be there because it was a part of my capstone, and then immediately left and switched it around on them. And now I'm getting paid, which is a blessing for a college student. With that said, I joined doing what we called a storytelling campaign, or a storytelling internship. So I was working a lot with my internship partner on developing the storytelling plan for Sustainability Ambassadors. And the first thing I'm going to show you by sharing my screen is the first big project that I worked on for them. Hopefully it's not too much screen sharing for you. Can y'all see this spreadsheet in front of you?
Yeah, even if we can't read the fine print, we get the concept by understanding
Yes.
the columns.
Yeah, so this isn't something I necessarily need to zoom in really well. All y'all need to see is that there are a lot of people on this list. So what we call this the Master Comms Partnership Spreadsheet. On here are a bunch of organizations that I have done a bunch of research on, whether they are from organizations that we admire or organizations that are part of different coalitions and things like that. We have different ways of contact info and ways that they can connect to our own mission so that when the time comes, we are able to reach out to these organizations and create partnerships. So this aligns really well with some of the people that are in this room, probably all of you, that we would want to connect with and be able to add to the spreadsheet to be able to develop some sort of relationship with moving forward. So as our organization grows, we can share the love and share the growth both ways and be able to grow as an organization together. All the Zoom things like go right where I need it to be. All right. The next thing I wanted to show is, so as we click through here, there is one tab that has a bunch of numbers on it because part of my thing, my internship was also developing that communication strategy, the content calendar, and just continuing that storytelling plan for the organization. So one of the last things I did during my unpaid internship was going through a bunch of the organizations that we admire and developing their or writing down their engagement ratios that I calculated by looking at their followers and their engagement on their posts, and I collected them all here.
Show us what. Slow down and show us.
No, well, I've got a plan. Don't worry,
Okay.
I got
I'm
it.
getting busy.
So all of these things that I keep scrolling through, we compiled into this document. and as well as a couple others that I knew personally. So these are Instagrams and just some research that I've done over how we can structure our Instagram to have the best engagement that we can, as well as spreading the word, because as education and as things like our program are spread and known through more people, the more good we can do. So for any of y'all out there that are wondering and do not know, the Washington Department of Natural Resources has the most amazing engagement, and for not only like people who want to know about natural resources, but also just like young students that want to like have a laugh. They have great content. So if any of y'all are looking for someone to like look at for content, Department of Natural Resources has got it down. With all of this to do, we now have to look at what Sustainability Ambassadors has been doing when it comes to content and when it comes to that content creation, that storytelling part of our organization. The first thing I'm going to turn y'all to is our TikTok, which has kind of been our launching platform, our like our tester platform for some of the content that we've done. You can see my face on here a lot, and that is because I curated some content for Face a Leak Week, which happened this last March from the 20th to the 26th. And if we would like, I can show one of these videos, but I don't want to take up too much time. Maybe, Peter, we could do it at the end if we have time, because I want to make sure we have time for questions as well.
Yeah, icing on the cake, because what's brilliant here is we're trying to figure out how to tell wonky stuff like fix a leak, you know, like it's a parent's job or a plumber's job. But students can't, and Karen, Sarah's setting an example here of how to be really creative about getting information across in an entertaining way. So this will be the icing on the cake, or people can go there on their own. Cool, Sarah, thank you.
Perfect. I think I accidentally, there we go. Okay, perfect. So the next thing that I want to show y'all is really integral into this storytelling plan. It is our master content calendar. So if we go to 2023 here, you can see that we have the entire calendar on the left here with the days of the week and the day of the month, as well as some important dates. I went through and made sure that we had a bunch of important equity dates, environment-based dates, holidays, and other, as well as events for the year that we have slowly been adding to. I think we only have a couple on there for now because this format is a little bit new. This calendar is something that we're still developing and still understanding our strategy and our rhythm for, but we were really excited to show you it because it really shows the work that we have been putting in so far. So, there's a lot of information on here, and Chris, I see your hand up. I will get to you as soon as I finish this last little bit. We've got things about product description, what the caption will be, instructions once we post it, and then information on where it should go and if it's part of a category or a campaign. By scrolling down to April, which is where we're at now, you can see some different stuff that we have ready. All right, Chris, what do you have for us?
Oh, thank you. I noticed that you had the Washington State Conservation on there. I thought I saw
On the content calendar?
On your list of, on your list
on the
of
communications, this one.
Yes.
Yes, we have Washington Conservation Action.
Oh, Conservation Action. Oh, sorry. And I was wondering if you had looked at the King Conservation District.
I think they need the list somewhere. This is really preliminary, and it's coming out of places where we're funded right now to work on water quality. So King Conservation District definitely belongs in there. They're probably in this list. We haven't even actualized this list. We've only built it. So we're showing you the armature of what could happen, because we're doing all this with either free or paid student interns. Sarah's been hired as a communications fellow.
And the other one, which is heavily involved and around students, is the Northwest Annual Envirothon, which really is centrally focused around students, to consider adding those and looking at those events.
And that's KCD also, right?
Actually, it's actually an amalgamation of all of the neighboring conservation districts in the Northwest, and pulling high school students into environmental activities.
Got it.
Those sound like amazing organizations. If you could do me a really big favor, you could go ahead and drop the names of those into the chat, and then we can grab them after the meeting.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, of course. All right, going back to the content calendar here, I just wanted to point out a couple things, which is where this can go is the main thing I want to be able to show y'all. Right now, we have kind of our things for the next week and a half, but I want to show you that this is something that we can really be using to plan for the rest of the year and beyond. So we have different things planned but not put in a certain date, different plans for the specific days and monthly celebrations that happen all through the rest of the year. And so this is something where we are really wanting to put this storytelling strategy into place. With that said, I'm zooming through this as fast as I can, but I wanted to give a little bit of definitions on some of the storytelling things that we work on. So those definitions are campaign, our micro campaign, series, and our standalone content. We are doing big overarching campaigns, both for our over these big topics with many CTAs or call to actions, like we call them, and have them go over a variety of topics and content. Micro campaigns are a more focused category topic within a campaign and has a more specific audience as well as more focused call to actions. Series are types of content that can follow throughout different campaigns and over long periods of time. For example, 5 easy sustainability tips could be over a water conservation content campaign, as well as a solar campaign and other things. Standalone content is a little bit more self-explanatory. The last thing I wanted to showcase y'all is our Instagram here. You can see we have our Fix a Leak Week content, as well as our first Told announcement for Told coming up on the 18th, which Kylie explained, and there's many more to come. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, but I will put our Instagram handle into the chat if y'all have any questions about that. Also, I'll put this out there that if y'all want any want to contact us about any, oh my gosh, Zoom is like switching all over. If y'all want to contact us about any partnerships or about anything to do with communication, we would always love to talk. You can contact me personally or as well as here. Yes, Rachel is completely correct in the chat. If you know any young folks in the greater Seattle area that would love to be a part of this organization, we always love taking in more ambassadors and sharing the word about sustainability. And I will go ahead and pass it back to Peter. But that's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, that's a critical action. We probably want to do that here. I'm going to show you a couple of larger systemic programs in a brief way, but we really can't actualize much of this unless we have some ambassadors, some student ambassadors that are just really passionate and really self-directed, and they come out of some of your local high schools in your district. That would be great. Or some teachers, or some principals or a superintendent, and we kind of get that going. We have a few teacher contacts in your district, but we could use more. And then it helps if we have students that are leading this and students doing the work, and students getting trained by us, but serving your school, chunks of school districts, Highline, Seattle, Vashon, I think. So I'm going to leave you with these links, but briefly here, we just got hired last summer by the city of Kirkland to do the Sustainable Neighborhood Ambassador Program, which hires 4 or 5 students, well paid for the summer, to work on the scope of work, which you could visit right here, is to support some of our impact projects now turn into campaigns that directly serve, because the city's paying for it, the city's climate action plan, which they call their sustainability master plan. Issaquah just contracted with us for the next 2 years to do the same thing, because Issaquah and Kirkland are part of K4C and they're talking to each other. For those of you in Burien, some of you might have even heard about this. We put in a 2-page proposal for $1 million along with 6 or 7 other partners, including the city of Burien. So this proposal you might want to look at. We did not get funded. It was a Google and ICLEI kind of ramp up. Who's ready to scale up? and we put together this coalition. So there's some pieces and parts and partners that have already been in conversation, including Paige at the city. So you might take a look at that, especially you Burien folks, and there's could be some elements that we rise up, write some grants together, share some costs, and get it started, again, through students and through the classroom. These links, I'm going to leave them. Is this big enough for y'all? How am I doing for skies?
Maybe a tad larger.
Let's really make it comfortable. So the Burien SNAP proposal is something you might want to read on your own. No rush. $1 million that we did not get into the second round, but started some good conversations. On the teacher side, we right now are being funded to have about 15 teachers in a teacher fellows program to do this, city classroom climate action planning. So going right at what we described at the very beginning of our presentation, that the sweet spot is when you can have all of the advocacy we care about is actually the core curriculum, that we meet academic standards in context of meeting one or more elements in a local policy framework. In this case, we really lean into climate action plans, and Burien has a good one. They just passed it a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. So you could read up on the Teacher Fellows program around that. I think there are some Seattle Public teachers in the group here I saw in the chat. Is that you, Leslie? Or running for school board or something impressive?
School board director from our district.
You're an existing school board director?
This is Rachel. I'm just letting you know what Leslie's capacity is.
Thank you.
I put it in the chat. Let's talk and let's leverage. Thank you.
Leverage, chat, talk. You seem to be a very efficient person. I like that. So this might be an interesting model because this is an elaborate pilot that's going to start in a few weeks. This is with all 7 AP environmental science teachers in the 5 high schools in Bellevue. After the AP exam's over, they're going to dedicate the last 5 to 7 weeks of their course to the work we've just been describing to you. Individual impacts, campaigns, how does it relate to the city climate action plan in Bellevue? The same thing's happening in Seattle. We have 2 Seattle AP environmental teachers who are really great. One's at Roosevelt, one's at Ballard, and they are connected to the other 10 AP environmental science teachers. And we're paying for some in-service time for them through the end of this year to do this same work. So we are going to stop right there, except maybe, Sarah, this is a reading. This is like a prayer. Here's what happens by 2050 and probably a lot sooner if what we described tonight in all these pieces and parts that are just waiting for expansion. Sarah, do you want to try reading this slowly and beautifully? I know it's a cold reading for you.
Sure. Sustainability Ambassadors Vision 2050. Through the communities of practice we've facilitated and collective impact strategies we've coordinated, our cities are meeting the most ambitious goals of their climate action, climate justice, watershed management, and workforce development plans. Greenhouse gas emissions are decreasing, equity outcomes are increasing, salmon and orca are rebounding, green infrastructure, tree canopy, and urban agriculture are regreening urban villages connected by transit and bike tracks. Schooling of our youth is distributed over 12 months and fully integrated with the ongoing work of participatory democracy, ecological economics, and upstream determinants of equity.
Good for us. We did it. And it all happened, I think it all started on April 12th, 2023, that meeting between the 34th Legislative District and this funky little startup called Sustainability Ambassadors. So open doors here. I'd like for folks to organize your thoughts and write simple, doable actions, places where we might get started on something together. If you tell us you ought to do this and this and this, we can't. We're full on doing just what we're contracted to do. And I'm the staff. And then we have students. So we don't have a communications director. We have Sarah. and she's learning. She's awesome, and she's learning as we go. So it's a gentle get to know you, but in that context, there's probably a few things we could do, like if you start to connect us to some really brilliant middle school or high school students, and they want to be part of Sustainable Ambassadors. And as Sustainable Ambassadors, we always meet online. It's just like this. So that becomes a nexus of student training, student leadership that then begins to support your work and other groups in the community, or a few lead teachers that you know. All right, so what are your thoughts? What are you hearing? Anybody can speak. I see Rachel has her hand up for sure.
I just have a really quick question about like the demographic of your students. Is there an age range, like not younger than or not older than like what's the age range for eligible new ambassadors?
Middle school and high school. And we would love community college students, and we'd love to develop enough capital to fund them. So because they're now in college and they should have a paid internship. But the only paid internships that we have figured out with these pieces of grant money really is really high capacity students that already bring a lot of kind of almost staff capacity to our work, which you're looking at here. So that's different than just providing an opportunity for a community college level student. But so we say middle school through graduate school, knowing that to respect the energy and expertise of college students, we would want to try and pay them. But that's how we could work together. City of Burien could join us in this SNAP program and pay for 2 or 3 interns coming into next summer. And that's a cheap way to get a lot of work done that then begins to be a system that more students can come into. But by far the easiest way is if you can help us help you form a middle school and high school group of students. You notice most of these students have been with us for years because it's just highly motivating for them. More thoughts, questions? We have about 7 minutes here before our time's officially up, and I know you're going to need to get to work on your own advocacy.
I have another question if nobody else does. Is it more kosher, as it were, to have folks who have the interest already and they want to come to you, or do you accept names of groups or of schools that we might know of where you could do outreach to, or is that not, like, which would you prefer?
It does take some get to know you time. Right now, I'm pretty booked up through the rest of the year working with teachers, either during the day or after school hours. So I wouldn't be able to come to a green team, for example, and which I'd love to do. Let's come and chat. And that rapport building, then some students say, I want more of that. But I would say, y'all students, I'm just making this up, but it could be interesting sometime this year to try and do a Zoom meeting, like one of our all hands meeting, where we intentionally invite a rep from as many eco clubs in the 34th. That's the way to do it, is they all come as guests, and we specifically talk about what we're doing and what they're doing and how we might amplify each other's efforts for your jurisdictions, your multiple school districts. That's the way to do it. And we could pull that off this year. We have set dates. It's Monday night from 7 to 8. And then we have 2-hour sessions every other Sunday from 3 to 5. And they could come into one of those as a colleague, and if some of them wanted to, an outcome is to form an ambassador team. We wouldn't steal them away from their eco clubs. We would help them be stronger leaders to inform their eco clubs to be, that would be our work. So students, piece of cake, we could make that invitation. We could set up a date or two and put it out there through this network.
Yeah, for sure. That actually has been on my mind and on my list of things to kind of bring up during one of our meetings. So I'm glad we're kind of making that decision now. I'm already working with one of our students, Zoe, in creating a new sustainability club at her school because they do not have one. And also working more closely with some other students on strength. Then we're going to be working towards working with other students to strengthen their own sustainability clubs, as well as seeing how we can collaborate on that storytelling aspect that I've been working on.
Chris Porter?
Thank you so much. Just what a great presentation. I'm wondering if you do like student-led campaigns like bike, bus, or walk to work and or school, at least 1 to 2 days if you already drive. Skip beef if you can. And well, I forgot the third one too, but those are, oh, and I guess it's the say no to plastic, and see if a student would lead those campaigns in their schools and in their communities around those climate change efforts.
Yes. Our main goal is to empower students to know how to do that effectively. And what we notice among youth is energy, passion. Usually they bite off more than they can chew. And almost never do they think about measuring it. The big word is let's spread awareness. And we did a thing and there was some energy and it's good. But we would offer training to the next level, which is what's your intended outcome? How will you measure it? And then who are the stakeholders who need to hear about it? So it's the impact project strategy, the 3-part strategy. Those who are open to really getting like, oh, I could actually have impact. Those stories start to come up through a Rotary Club or Kiwanis or Chamber of Commerce or 3-minute public appearance at City Council or school board. And suddenly that little group of 5 or 6 has a letter to the school board that says or maybe it's a letter to I'm thinking of CTAC, but they're not in, CTAC doesn't have a climate action plan yet, but they're not in your jurisdiction, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, all those so it's not our campaigns that we would impose, it's our leadership development strategies. And the way to do that is we'll probably create some kind of an invitation and a couple of dates. And then you can see that, you can distribute that to your network, and anybody who wants to encourage all or some reps from a given middle school or high school green team can join us. And then we'd know 6 people registered for that, or 60 people registered for that. And we have a student-to-student conversation, and we would facilitate that for how can we have greater impact? How are you measuring your impact? Are you aligning your ideas with the city climate action plan?
Do we have any other questions? Somebody had a question about Maren. Did you want to ask your question?
I think we have time for one more question, then we got it.
It's Maren. I love all the things that you're doing here. I can see all of the parallels, the leadership skills that you're building. And I put it in the chat, but usually when people ask me what's the #1 thing I can do, to prevent climate change, I say vote. And I'm wondering if you've considered get out the vote campaigns as an impact project to support, climate candidates or anything like that.
We'd love to do that with you. We'd love to learn about the structure that students would get under tutelage from you. So I think that is really good. And we'd probably have 2 levels of it. One is when those candidate forums come around and sort of shared slates that we can really get behind. The other is voting with your wallet as a consumer all the time, because they can get out the vote for school board bonds to really help parents vote, to learn about the candidates, but they can't vote yet. Most of them can't vote up until they're 18, as you know, but they can vote with their wallet. So I think that whole voting, participatory democracy, that framework, I think that would be really fun to work on a kind of an impact campaign strategy about how do we get kids involved in big P politics, politics of the people, not politics of, the competition and the angst. but how do you just really get to work? So I'd be interested in that over time.
And just so you, I mean, just to be aware that even if the young people that are under 18 cannot vote, they can pre-register to vote. And so there are plenty of ways to get people sort of excited and registered. Youth can register 18 plus folks to vote too. So, I mean, there are definitely ways to target climate advocates and climate, warriors who will be making decisions and making laws that do help the trend of climate change in the way that we want it to go.
That's great. Yeah. So we'd work on a series of principles. Like, we want people participating in democracy. We want people respecting the political process. We want people knowing the issues. That's easy fodder to get into the classroom. Civics teachers want more real stuff to grapple with, not politicized stuff, but real stuff. So we're going to pause there. We really thank you. I thank the students. It's so fun to be your colleagues. You've given us a great opportunity to just come, like, try and describe what we do, and to interact with you over time would be really, really fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll sign off unless anybody in the room wants to stay and see how.
Yes, feel free to stick around. We have some candidates you can hear from tonight. And yeah, thank you, Rachel, for organizing this great pre-program. Thank you, Peter, Kylie, Sophia, Aria, Sarah. There's some great partners in the room and boosters for you all. Really enjoyed learning about the professional skills you all are learning, and the activities you're doing to take action and share your stories, and really into the TOLD campaign. So hopefully your schools will take that on as well. So thank you all, really appreciate it.
Thank you.